stop scrolling, because what I'm about to tell you will completely change the way you see attraction. And not just attraction to women, but the way people respond to you, the way energy flows around you, and the way life opens doors you didn't even know existed. Most men are wasting their time trying to impress, trying to be flashy, trying to chase attention that will never last. They think attraction is about looks, money, or charm, but they are dead wrong. The truth is deeper, more powerful, and so rarely spoken that when you hear it, it will shock you. I'm going to show you 4 behaviors that older men do effortlessly that instantly make them magnetic, irresistible, and unforgettable. These aren't tricks. These aren't lines you can memorize. These are behaviors that shift your energy, your presence, and your impact on the people around you. When you understand and apply these, you will see people respond to you differently. Women, colleagues, friends, everyone will feel your presence in a way that's undeniable. By the time this video ends, you won't see attraction the same way again. You'll understand why some men walk into a room and instantly command attention, while others are invisible no matter how hard they try. You'll realize why calmness, focused listening, and purpose matter more than charm or money. And most importantly, you'll discover the kind of energy that makes people gravitate toward you naturally, without you even trying. So pay attention, because if you watch this all the way through, you'll gain insights that most men will never know, and you'll learn how to step into a version of yourself that commands respect, admiration, and attraction every single time. By the end of this video, your perspective will change, and your life can change too. There is a truth about attraction that most people will never tell you, and it's far simpler than you think. It isn't about how much money you make, how good you look, or even how charming you appear on the surface. It's about presence, how you carry yourself in the world. Presence is the silent language of power. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand attention, but it commands it in a way that is impossible to ignore. The men who are magnetic, who people are drawn to without even realizing why, are not doing anything extraordinary. They are simply moving through life in a way that makes them feel and make others feel like they belong. And that, my friends, is irresistible. Think about the moments you've walked into a room and felt someone's energy before they even spoke. Maybe it was a man who didn't say much, but the air around him seemed charged. People noticed him. Women noticed him. It's not magic, it's presence. It's a quality that comes from knowing yourself deeply, from understanding your worth without needing validation from anyone else. This is what separates men who are forgettable from men who leave a lasting impression. Presence is the difference between being part of the background and becoming the focus of attention. Now, I want to be clear, confidence is not loud. Confidence is not aggressive. It doesn't need to brag, flash, or perform. True confidence is quiet. It's steady. It's calm, like the surface of a lake that reflects everything around it without being disturbed. When a man carries himself with this kind of energy, people instinctively respect him. They are drawn to him because he is self-contained. He doesn't need to prove himself, and that alone is magnetic. You can practice this. You can train yourself to occupy your space in a way that feels natural, authentic, and compelling. It starts with posture. Stand tall, shoulders back, chest open. Don't shrink yourself to fit the expectations or insecurities of others. Make your body say without words, I am here. I belong. But presence is more than just posture. It's in the way you move, the way you speak, the way you carry energy. Older men who master this don't rush. They don't fidget. They don't over-explain or overcompensate. They move deliberately, speak with intention, and carry an energy that signals stability. Think of it like a rhythm, a natural flow that others subconsciously sync with. When you cultivate this energy, people begin to mirror it. They listen differently. They see differently. They feel differently in your presence. And that, above all, is the root of attraction, There is also a psychological dimension to this. Humans are wired to notice confidence because it signals competence and safety. When you move through the world as if you are grounded, as if you are anchored in your own value, it reassures others on a deep, instinctual level. Women, in particular, are drawn to men who exude this kind of certainty because it communicates security without needing words. This is not about manipulation. It is about alignment with your true self. When your internal sense of self-worth is reflected outwardly, it is seen, felt, and respected. Presence is the visible proof of internal strength. And here's something most men miss: presence is cultivated over time, but it starts with self-awareness. It starts with asking yourself the difficult questions. Who am I when no one is watching? How do I carry myself when there is no audience? Do I shrink in fear of judgment? Or do I move with intention regardless of what others think? The men who master this are not perfect, but they are deliberate. They understand that every action, every gesture, every glance communicates something about them. They understand that presence is energy in motion, and it can be honed, practiced, and strengthened just like any other skill. Another key aspect of presence is the energy you project. It's not about being loud or dominating. It's about being grounded, centered, and fully in the moment. The man who radiates presence doesn't get pulled into every drama or distraction. He chooses where to focus his energy. He understands that the intensity of his presence can be more powerful than anything he says or does. People notice when energy is authentic, when it is calm yet firm, when it carries the weight of someone who knows himself. That energy, more than looks, more than charm, more than money, is what makes a man magnetic. And let's talk about the subtle signals. Eye contact, for example, can communicate confidence or insecurity in a single moment. A steady gaze, not too intense, not too fleeting, signals a man who is grounded. A relaxed smile that comes naturally communicates warmth without desperation. Even the space you occupy, how you interact with your surroundings, communicates more than any words ever could. These are the micro behaviors that older men who master presence do effortlessly, and they make a world of difference in how others perceive them. The truth is, presence is not about trying to impress anyone. It's about being fully aligned with yourself. When you move through the world authentically, without seeking validation, you create a kind of magnetic pull that people cannot resist. They are drawn to you because you are complete in yourself. They are drawn to the energy you carry. And here is the ultimate secret: the more grounded you are in your own value, the more attractive you become, not just physically, but in every dimension of life. So here is the challenge for you. Don't wait for the world to notice you. Don't shrink to fit in. Start with how you carry yourself right now, in this moment. Stand taller, move with intention, speak deliberately, be aware of the energy you project. Each step you take, each breath you draw, communicates to the world who you are. And when you commit to embodying presence fully, you will notice the change immediately. People will respond differently, opportunities will open, relationships will deepen. And most importantly, you will feel it yourself, the power of being fully, unapologetically grounded in your own worth. Because in the end, attraction is not about tricks, games, or external validation. It is about energy, it is about alignment, and it is about showing up fully as yourself. And the first, most powerful step to doing that is learning to carry yourself with presence. Stand tall, move with intention, and let the world feel your energy. When you do this, attraction isn't something you chase, it becomes something that naturally seeks you out. Remember this: the world doesn't just notice men who are loud or flashy. The world notices men who occupy their space fully, quietly, and with unwavering confidence. Presence is power. Presence is magnetism. Presence is the first step toward becoming a man who commands respect, admiration, and attraction in every room he enters. And if you commit to this, everything else, the relationships, the influence, the opportunities, will follow naturally. Presence is not just an action, it is a declaration. It says, I am here, I belong, and the world cannot help but take notice. There is a subtle power that very few men understand, and yet it is one of the most attractive qualities a man can possess. It is not found in wealth, status, or even in physical strength. It is the mastery of calmness, the ability to remain steady, composed, and unshaken, even when the world around you is falling apart. This is a trait that older men who are magnetic seem to possess naturally, but it is not magic. It is cultivated, it is learned, and it is one of the most powerful ways to command respect, admiration, and yes, attraction, without ever having to say a word. Think about it. In life, chaos is everywhere. People lose control, they overreact, they panic, and they make poor decisions because they are emotionally hijacked. But the man who is calm, who can center himself in the middle of storms, instantly sets himself apart. Calmness is magnetic because it signals mastery. It signals that no matter what happens, you are grounded, you are reliable, you are in control, not in an aggressive, domineering way, but in a quiet, unwavering way that others can feel in their bones. Women, in particular, are instinctively drawn to this energy. They can sense it immediately. When a man is calm, they feel safe, they feel seen, they feel understood. But let me be clear, being calm does not mean being passive. It does not mean avoiding challenges or ignoring conflict. Calmness is not about suppressing emotion or pretending nothing matters. It is about controlling your energy, about choosing your response rather than being driven by impulse. The men who exude calmness are fully aware of the world around them, but they do not let it dictate their mood or their behavior. They respond rather than react. They act with intention rather than instinct. And this difference, though subtle, is felt immediately by everyone they encounter. There is a philosophical depth to this idea. Life is unpredictable. People are irrational. Events unfold in ways we cannot control. And yet, the man who masters calmness is not controlled by circumstances. He understands that while he cannot dictate what happens to him, he can dictate how he responds. He is the eye of the storm, steady and unshakable, while chaos swirls around him. This is not only attractive, it is rare. Most people are swept away by their emotions. Most people are slaves to circumstance. But the man who has mastered calmness moves through life with an invisible strength, and that strength draws people to him naturally. Consider how calmness affects perception. When you are calm in a crisis, people trust you more. When you are calm in a heated conversation, people respect you more. When you are calm in the presence of uncertainty, people are drawn to your energy. Calmness communicates something that words cannot. It says, I am capable, I am in control, I am not afraid, and the mind, both yours and others, responds to this energy on a deep, instinctual level. It is one of the most powerful forms of attraction there is. Developing calmness begins with self-awareness. You must first understand your own triggers. You must recognize the situations that make you anxious, angry, or reactive. And once you know them, you can start to practice mastery over them. This does not happen overnight. It requires discipline, patience, and observation. It requires learning to pause before you act, to breathe before you speak, to evaluate before you respond. The men who have this quality have practiced it over years, often in silence, away from the eyes of the world. They understand that true strength is not loud, it is measured, it is controlled. Another critical aspect of calmness is emotional intelligence. It is not enough to be calm internally. You must be able to project that calm outwardly. Your tone of voice, your gestures, your facial expressions, they must all communicate steadiness. People pick up on micro signals subconsciously. When you exude calm energy, people mirror it. A woman feels safe, a colleague feels reassured, a room, even a crowd, feels steadied by your presence. And that is the quiet power that makes older men irresistible. Calmness is not just a personal quality. It is a gift to everyone around you. There is also a paradoxical beauty in calmness. It is understated, yet profoundly noticed. When others are frantic, desperate, or loud, the calm man stands apart. He does not need to announce himself. He does not need to show off. He is magnetic precisely because he is measured, and this quality becomes a self-fulfilling cycle. The more calm you are, the more people trust you, the more they respect you, the more they are naturally drawn to you. Calmness becomes both your shield and your attraction, but calmness also requires courage. It is easier to react than to pause. It is easier to give in to fear than to stand steady. It is easier to get swept away by the chaos of life than to remain grounded. That is why this quality is so rare and so powerful. The men who have mastered calmness have chosen discipline over impulse. They have chosen awareness over ignorance. They have chosen to lead themselves before they lead others. And in doing so, they create a form of magnetism that is undeniable. The world often mistakes noise for power. It mistakes aggression for strength. It mistakes urgency for competence. But true power, true attraction, lies in quiet mastery over oneself. A calm man does not need to prove anything. His presence proves everything. He moves through life with a certainty that cannot be shaken. And that is why people, women, men, peers, colleagues, are naturally drawn to him. Calmness is the ultimate form of confidence because it is a reflection of inner stability, self-mastery, and emotional intelligence all at once. So how do you start cultivating this? It begins with practice. Practice observing your reactions. Practice pausing before you speak. Practice breathing through discomfort. Practice being present even when life is uncertain. Over time, you will notice a shift, not just in how you feel, but in how the world responds to you. People will lean in when you enter a room. They will trust your judgment. They will be drawn to your energy without understanding why. And that, above all, is the kind of attraction that cannot be taught in a book or learned from a gimmick. It must be embodied. In the end, calmness is not just a trait. It is a lifestyle. It is a choice to be grounded in the midst of chaos, to be composed in the face of uncertainty, and to respond to life with intention rather than reaction. It is the invisible magnet that pulls people toward you. It is the quiet strength that commands respect. And it is a reflection of a man who has mastered himself above all else. So here is the challenge for you. Start observing yourself. Start practicing calmness. Stand in situations that challenge you and choose steadiness. Respond with intention. Breathe, pause. Center yourself, because the moment you do, the world will respond differently. People will notice. Energy will shift. And you will discover a form of attraction that is rare, powerful, and utterly transformative. Calmness is not something you wait to have. It is something you cultivate, moment by moment, choice by choice. And once you do, you will never move through the world the same way again. Remember, this chaos will always exist. Life will always throw challenges in your path. But the man who remains calm, who masters himself, who chooses his responses with precision, will always stand apart. Calmness is not just a behavior. It is a declaration: I am in control, I am grounded, I am magnetic, and the world cannot help but notice. There is one quality that separates men who are merely noticed from men who are truly unforgettable. And it is so simple, yet so rare, that most people overlook it entirely. It is the ability to genuinely listen, not just to hear words, but to truly absorb, understand, and respond in a way that makes others feel deeply seen. This is a skill that older men who are magnetic master effortlessly, and it is one of the most powerful forms of attraction because it reaches far beyond superficial charm or appearance. It speaks to something primal, something emotional, something that taps directly into the way human beings connect. Think about the people who have made a lasting impression on you. Were they the ones who spoke the most, or were they the ones who made you feel heard, validated, and understood? The truth is, words matter less than attention. Most men believe attraction comes from charisma, jokes, or flashy gestures, but the men who truly captivate understand that the deepest human desire is to be truly known, to listen with intent, to respond with care, to make someone feel important without even trying. This is a power few can wield, and yet it is effortless for those who understand it. Genuine listening is not passive. It is not simply nodding or waiting for your turn to speak. It is active. It is intentional. It is focused on understanding not just the words being said, but the emotions, the motivations, the subtleties behind them. It is reading between the lines, sensing what is unsaid, and responding in a way that acknowledges both. This level of attention is rare because most people are too busy thinking about themselves, too distracted by their own thoughts, too consumed by the need to impress. But when you listen in this way, you create an invisible pull that is magnetic, irresistible, and unforgettable. There is a philosophical depth to this skill. To listen genuinely requires humility. It requires the willingness to set aside ego, to silence the internal voice that constantly wants to interrupt, correct, or redirect. It is a form of surrender, not in weakness, but in strength. The man who can listen deeply does not need to dominate the conversation or prove his intelligence. He understands that attraction is not created through speaking louder, but through making others feel valued, understood, and safe. And that, above all, is magnetic. Consider the psychology of it. Humans are wired to crave connection. We seek validation, acknowledgement, and empathy. When someone truly listens to us, it triggers a profound emotional response. It makes us feel seen on a level that goes beyond superficial interaction. Women, especially, can sense this immediately. When a man listens without distraction, without judgment, without the need to interject his own narrative, it communicates something rare that he respects, values, and recognizes your essence. And that recognition creates attraction that is subtle, yet incredibly powerful. Listening also builds trust, which is the foundation of all meaningful relationships. The man who listens genuinely communicates reliability and emotional intelligence. He becomes someone people want to be around, someone whose presence is comforting, someone whose attention feels like a gift. This is why older men who master this skill are often viewed as magnetic. They are not chasing attention or validation. Instead, they are giving something infinitely more valuable, the gift of genuine understanding. And people respond to this instinctively. But this skill is not innate for most people. It must be cultivated. It begins with self-awareness, understanding your own thoughts, your own distractions, and your own need to control conversations. It requires discipline to pause, to quiet your mind, to truly focus on another person without letting your ego interfere. It is a practice of presence, of mindfulness, of emotional attunement. The more you practice it, the more natural it becomes, and the more magnetic you appear. There is also a subtle artistry in listening. It is not simply absorbing information, it is responding in a way that validates and enhances the connection. This can be as simple as reflecting back a thought, asking a question that digs deeper, or acknowledging the unspoken feelings behind the words. The men who excel at this create a sense of intimacy without forcing it. They make others feel safe to be vulnerable. They create a space where emotions can flow freely. And when that happens, attraction becomes almost inevitable. Another critical aspect is patience. Genuine listening requires slowing down. It requires resisting the urge to interrupt, to offer solutions, or to turn the focus back to yourself. The world moves fast, conversations are rushed, but the man who listens with intent creates a contrast to this chaos. He signals that he is fully present, fully invested, and fully grounded. This calm, patient energy draws people in because it is rare and refreshing. In a world full of distraction and noise, someone who truly listens becomes magnetic simply by virtue of their presence and attention. There is also a deeper emotional intelligence at play. Listening well allows you to read the subtle cues in someone's behavior, the tone of their voice, the inflection of their words, the tension in their body. These are signals that most men completely miss. But when you pay attention, you can respond in ways that resonate on an emotional level. This creates a profound sense of understanding, connection, and attraction that cannot be faked or forced. It is authentic, it is compelling, it is lasting. And here's the truth that will shock many men. Listening is more powerful than speaking in attraction. Most men overestimate the power of their words, their jokes, their charm, or their stories. But words are fleeting. Energy, attention, and presence are lasting. When a man listens, he transmits these qualities silently. He communicates respect, empathy, intelligence, and confidence all at once. This is a type of attraction that is deep, enduring, and irresistible. Genuine listening also transforms the way you relate to the world. It opens doors to understanding people at a profound level, to seeing perspectives you may have never considered, and to creating connections that go far beyond superficial encounters. It teaches patience, empathy, and awareness. And as you practice it, you notice something incredible. The world responds in kind. People lean in, they trust more, they respect more, and attraction flows naturally. But perhaps the most important lesson is that listening is an act of power, not weakness. It is the ability to slow down, observe, and respond thoughtfully in a world that rushes, reacts, and interrupts. The man who can do this is commanding attention, even when he is silent. He is magnetic, not because he seeks admiration, but because he cultivates connection. He becomes unforgettable because he makes others feel unforgettable. So here is the challenge: start listening like your presence depends on it, because in a sense it does. Start paying attention not just to words, but to emotion, context, and intention. Notice what is unsaid. Ask questions that dig deeper. Resist the urge to dominate conversation, and notice the way people respond when they feel truly heard. This is the kind of magnetism that cannot be bought, learned from books, or faked. It must be lived, embodied, and expressed. In the end, genuine listening is more than a skill. It is a reflection of self-mastery, emotional intelligence, and presence. It is the bridge between isolation and connection, between indifference and attraction. It is one of the most powerful ways a man can become magnetic, respected, and unforgettable. When you commit to listening with your full attention, with empathy, and with intention, you transform every interaction into something meaningful, every connection into something deeper, and every relationship into something real. Remember this: attraction is not about talking louder or showing off. It is about being present, being attentive, and being truly aware. The men who master this are rare because it requires humility, patience, and discipline. But when you do it, when you listen in a way that is real, intentional, and profound, you become magnetic, you become unforgettable, and the world cannot help but take notice. There is a type of magnetism that cannot be bought, learned in a book, or faked through charm or appearance. It is the magnetism of purpose. The kind of attraction that emerges when a man knows exactly who he is, where he is going, and refuses to waste his energy on anything that does not align with his vision. This is a trait older men who are truly magnetic share effortlessly, and it is often invisible to those who are distracted by superficial measures of success. Confidence in purpose is not arrogance, it is clarity. It is the unshakable certainty that your life has direction and that you are moving intentionally toward it every single day. Think about the men you have encountered who exude authority and attraction without trying. They are not constantly talking about themselves. They are not seeking approval or validation. They have a quiet, undeniable energy that draws people toward them. That energy comes from a life that is anchored in purpose. Every action, every choice, every decision is aligned with a vision they have for themselves. This alignment is magnetic because it signals a man who is complete in himself, who is not scattered, and who has the discipline to prioritize what truly matters. Purpose gives confidence its weight. Most men mistake confidence for charm, jokes, or superficial bravado, but these things are fleeting. True confidence comes from knowing who you are and what you stand for. It is the certainty that even when the world doubts you, you do not. It is the awareness that your life is guided by principles, by focus, by clarity of vision. A man with purpose does not get distracted by gossip, drama, or meaningless conflicts. He moves with intent, and that movement alone is magnetic. People are drawn to certainty. They are drawn to energy that is disciplined, focused, and unstoppable. This is not just psychological, it is deeply philosophical. Life is full of distractions, uncertainty, and chaos. The average person drifts, allowing circumstance to dictate their actions, reacting to events rather than shaping them. But a man who has mastered purpose is the opposite. He understands that his time, energy, and attention are limited resources. Every choice he makes is intentional, every action aligned with his greater vision. This clarity creates an aura of power because it communicates that he is not passive. He is not at the mercy of life's currents. He is directing them. And people instinctively recognize that strength. Purpose also communicates value without the need to boast. Most men try to impress through superficial displays, money, looks, status. But a man with purpose does not need to advertise. His energy, focus, and confidence communicate more than any words ever could. When you live with direction, you project stability, reliability, and competence. People instinctively respect it. Women, in particular, feel it. They are drawn to men whose lives have structure, ambition, and meaning because it signals that he can lead, support, and protect in ways that go far beyond the material. This is the kind of attraction that is deep, enduring, and undeniable. Confidence in purpose is also deeply tied to discipline. It is not enough to have a vague idea of what you want. You must pursue it relentlessly. You must structure your life around it. You must make decisions that reinforce your vision, even when it is uncomfortable, inconvenient, or unpopular. The men who are magnetic do not live passively. They are active participants in their own lives. They do not allow excuses or distractions to derail them. They have a rhythm, a routine, a set of priorities that anchor them. And this discipline communicates a form of strength and attraction that is rare and profoundly compelling. There is a psychological aspect here that most people miss. Humans are instinctively drawn to energy that is focused and unwavering because it signals stability and reliability. A man with purpose does not fluctuate with trends, opinions, or chaos. He does not compromise his values for temporary gain or approval. His energy is consistent, his vision is clear, and this certainty is magnetic. People feel it without understanding it. They trust it, they respect it, they are drawn to it. Purpose also intersects with authenticity. A man cannot fake purpose. It cannot be borrowed, performed, or imitated. It must be internalized. You must know yourself deeply, your values, your goals, your priorities, and act in alignment with them every day. When you live authentically, others sense it immediately. There is no pretense. There is no need for validation. You are grounded in your own identity, and that grounding communicates confidence, stability, and attraction effortlessly. Another dimension of living with purpose is resilience. A man with a clear direction is not easily shaken by setbacks, criticism, or failure. He understands that obstacles are part of the journey, not a signal to stop. He sees challenges as opportunities to grow, refine his focus, and strengthen his resolve. This resilience communicates a type of strength that is magnetic because it is rare. Most people react to adversity with panic, frustration, or complaint. The man with purpose responds with clarity, action, and calm. This contrast alone draws attention, respect, and attraction naturally. Purpose also influences the way you interact with others. When your life is aligned, you attract people who are aligned as well. Your energy sets a standard. You communicate through your actions what you accept, what you value, and who you allow into your circle. People are drawn to men who live intentionally because it signals leadership, self-mastery, and vision. They are inspired, they are intrigued, and they are naturally curious. And this curiosity is a core element of attraction. Living with purpose is not just about achieving goals. It is about being deliberate in every aspect of life. Every decision, every interaction, every commitment is measured against your values and vision. Older men who are magnetic understand this intuitively. They do not waste energy on meaningless drama, fleeting trends, or superficial validation. They invest in themselves, their growth, and their mission. And in doing so, they create an energy that is undeniable, compelling, and unforgettable. It is also worth noting that purpose creates a ripple effect. When you live with direction, it elevates the people around you. Your energy inspires, motivates, and challenges others to rise to their own potential. This influence amplifies your magnetism because it is not about domination or control. It is about leadership through example. People are drawn to energy that uplifts and challenges, that communicates integrity, focus, and unwavering commitment. And that is exactly what makes a man irresistible. So how do you cultivate this confidence in purpose? It starts with self-reflection. Ask yourself the hard questions. Who am I? What do I truly value? What am I willing to work for relentlessly, without compromise? Once you have clarity, structure your life around it. Make decisions that align with your vision. Pursue goals that challenge and inspire you. Remove distractions, limit energy draining influences, and invest in what truly matters. Over time, this alignment becomes visible in your energy, your posture, your speech, and your actions. People sense it immediately. They are drawn to it naturally. In the end, confidence in purpose is not about impressing others or gaining approval. It is about living authentically, with clarity, discipline, and intention. It is about becoming a man whose life communicates value without words, whose energy is magnetic because it is focused, and whose presence commands respect because it is aligned. Purpose is power. Purpose is attraction. Purpose is the invisible force that sets men apart in ways that are profound, enduring, and undeniable. Remember this: the world is full of men who drift, who react, who are distracted by noise, chaos, and superficial validation. The man who knows his purpose, who lives deliberately, and who acts with unwavering focus will always stand apart. Confidence in purpose is not a luxury. It is a necessity for anyone who wants to be magnetic, respected, and unforgettable. Live with direction, move with intention. Let your life speak louder than your words. Because when you do, attraction is no longer something you chase. It becomes something that naturally seeks you.